Chuck, you like this playoff format? Simple
No.
question.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Okay. So it's easy to come in here and slam it, right?
Yeah,
but
say, no, I don't like it. Because
okay. Well, what would you do different?
Trolls always say, I don't like something, but they don't say, well, what's the solution? Or why don't you like it? Explain it.
Okay.
Well, for me, the main reason why I don't like this format of the playoffs, well, there's a couple. First, one is we go into playoffs, and then there's always the international break that disrupts the rhythm of the playoffs, which interrupts the hype around the playoffs. And you build up to the playoffs, everyone's excited, and then you start the playoffs, and then it's a break, and everyone's kind of like, where's the playoffs? Is it done? Is it paused?
Wait. Can you use New England Revolution when Bruce was in charge?
Yeah, so this is an extreme situation.
But it kind of highlights the point.
Yeah, Bruce Arena in the New England Revolution in 2021 set the all-time points record in MLS history regular season play. And they were phenomenal, but they won a lot of games 1-0. They were in a great rhythm. You want to just keep playing. They didn't play a competitive game for 3 weeks. 3 weeks
because of the international break was part of it, right?
Well, they also had the wild card, right? And then they were the last team that played out of all of them, right?
So then they play New York City FC, New York City Football Club, and they lose in pens. Then New York City Football Club goes on to win MLS Cup. And for any New England Revolution fan out there, or for people who don't know New England Revolution history, they've been to MLS Cup 5 times, and I've been a part of one of those. And we've lost every opportunity to win MLS Cup. We've lost. That was the team that everyone thought, this is theirs to win. Out first round, out to New York City. So for me, it's just again the disruption in the playoffs with this massive break, and then on top of that, we're talking about a best of 3 series, which is confusing to me. Why 3 games? But if you're going to do 3, we want to see best of 3 of LA, Vancouver, a best of 3 of, the top teams. I don't want to see a best of 3 of Minnesota, Seattle. And no disrespect to the fan bases, because I think those atmospheres are incredible. I love Minnesota's stadium. The fans are awesome. And we all know how good Seattle's supporters are. But Minnesota play terrible style of football. It's not fun to watch a team just park the bus and hope for counters and hope for sloppy play. That's just not attractive. So you're not even getting the most of a top quality matchup. I would watch a 5-game series of Vancouver versus LAFC, right? 3-5. But a 3-game of Minnesota, Seattle? No thanks. A 3-game of Portland, San Diego? No thanks. So that's where I'm struggling when I'm watching the playoffs. If you're going to do multiple games, then just make it home away to make it the most fair. And let's try and get it done in one go. No breaks, no interruptions. Can they figure that out? Because I think the breaks with the international break just absolutely destroy the momentum of the playoffs. And now everyone's wondering, when are the playoffs being played? Who's playing? Is it just one game tonight, one game the next day? It just, why not have a group of playoff games one day, a group of playoffs, instead of like one here, one here, one here? You don't know who's playing, when they're playing. And we all know you never see it on TV because no one in bars puts on Apple TV to watch these MLS playoffs. So it's tough.
Yeah, there's going to be a couple good game 3s. Someone, Doug, is saying in the chat now that the hell is real derby, Cincinnati, Columbus, game 3. That's one of the, no problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, I agree. I don't think 3 games in this particular round is the way to go if you're going to have multiple ones. I like home and away, nice and easy. Mm-hmm. But Big Tones, where are you on this format? How would you pick these?
I hate the break, but I'll just fast forward to next year and see what it's going to look like. Because remember, the international break is going to be combined. What is that? The September, October one is going to be combined. So how does it look then? But for me, one of the complaints has been we change the format all the time. This is the second year of this format. For me, right now, you have the chance to keep the format the same forever. Just go to single game elimination. You're the higher seed. You earn to be at home, and the atmospheres will be great. And there's jeopardy in every single kick of the ball, right? And you'll never have to change the playoff format again. If you want to have 8 teams, I understand. They want more teams in the playoffs, but there's only going to be more and more teams in Major League Soccer. There's never going to be less, or we don't think there's going to be less. So if you make the decision right now, let's go 8 teams in the East, 8 teams in the West, single elimination. You never have to change the playoffs again. The calendar is a different story, right? We've had to deal with the international calendar. It's just where we're at. If they flip the schedule, that's one of the arguments for flipping the schedule, is that we won't deal with that in May. There won't be any international breaks, and we'll be playing all of the most important games of the season in general in good weather all around the country. That's part of the other part of the argument, right? So there's other arguments too. I've had coaches explain to me how preseason would work and how they actually would prefer preseason this way, and how they would do sort of camps with other teams, and how they would get their 5 scrimmages in that they try and get during the preseason, all that stuff. But for this playoff, you have a chance now. I don't like the 3 games. I just think it waters it down too much. Someone made the argument on our production call, when was it, yesterday, and said, well, what if a referee, makes a bad mistake in the game and gives you a red card that shouldn't have been a red card? But it's part of the game, man. We see this everywhere, right? Mm-hmm. We see it everywhere. It's unfortunate. That's kind of what makes the stories that we talk about for years, So me personally, I just say 8 teams, single elimination, and we're going to do this forever. The calendar is a different challenge, which they'll have to get to.
No, I like that. I like both of your guys' ideas there. In Mexico, just to give some other context for leagues that have playoffs around the world, they have 2 legs through their playoffs, and then if it's tied after 2 legs, you just go to the higher seed. There's no extra time. There's no penalties. If whoever was the higher seed. So I like that in the sense that if you were the better team in the regular season, then you get some value of that when the playoffs hit. So if you're tied after those 2 legs, then you get to go on. And I think that adds a little layer that maybe we haven't introduced here. Personally, I kind of at times when I think about old school, and I'm older too, back in the 50s when I was a kid, Chuck, to win the World Series. Let's go to baseball, and shout out to my Dodgers for somehow pulling that off.
You have aged well. I give you that.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. You had to win the American League to get into the World Series, and then you had whoever the top team in the National League, and then they played each other. Now, I'm not saying that each conference can't play against each other along the way in the regular season, but there's just something, and I feel like you could hype it up and build it up enough where the top team in each conference, whoever has the most points, will play each other in the final, and that's it. There's something about simplifying the whole thing and making it kind of like a soccer bowl. That
scenario, Jimmy, we'd have to have an all-star game that is East versus West.
I'm totally cool with that as well. I'm totally cool with that as well. So there's something about simplifying the whole process and really valuing. I feel like a single table is still the way to go, because you have these 2 other tournaments now. You have Open Cup, obviously, that we think is very special. And then you have Leagues Cup. If you're introducing another tournament here, then let those kind of be the tournament kind of formats that you're going to be playing in. And then the league is just the league. If you're the best after 10 months, that should be your trophy, man. And yes, I know we have the Supporters Shield, but that's who I think should be the league winner. However, I'm willing to find middle ground, and I feel like we should simplify it, and the winner of each goes through. That's all.
Let's be honest. Playoffs is king in American sports.
I get that. I get that.
MLS has tried to separate themselves from the traditional football league, global football leagues in the world by having a playoffs in a way that's very similar to NBA, to NHL, like the excitement around the playoffs and winning that the whatever the ultimate game is, and hoisting that trophy. But at the end, I think it's just you got to get that playoff picture right, and I'm cool with the home and away. Each supporters group gets that home field, and it's pretty special when you get that home field. Is there a way to add value to the regular season so that those playoffs are catering to the teams that really perform during the regular season? I think there's a way to do that, and maybe it's the better seed gets the second game, like we've seen in the Champions League in the past. It was always the advantage was with the home team in the second game versus the home team in the first game.
Yeah.
And just the playoffs need to be fixed, because this best of 3 is just so random to do. Best of 3, then 1-1-1-1. There's no consistency. How do you go from best of 3 and all of a sudden you throw that all out and you go, all right, now we're going ones?
Yeah, you make an argument about league games being important. Well, they become important if you add things to them. Playoffs, we talked about revamping the Leagues Cup schedule at one point, where you do well the year before, you might not qualify. If you don't do well the year before, you don't go to Leagues Cup and you don't get the money that's attached to it. Like there's ways to incentivize things, and I just think the 3 games gives you too much room now, right, to make a mistake in one of the first 2 games and then still have a chance to go through.
Yeah, the one thing I meant to add too with my idea is that you'd get all of the playoffs if you only had 1 or 2 games to at the end. Even if you wanted to have top 2, or if you wanted to have a semifinal or whatever, you have all of it done before the international break, or at least I guess this particular iteration. Obviously, that might change for next year.
We do know why we have this length of playoffs, right? I hope we're not losing the fact. A friend of mine told me one time in this sport, it's about the money, you moron, right? Like it's what it is in the end. They wanted,
yeah, of course.
That's the reason. I don't really have a problem with the playoffs. Like, okay, that's the system we have. Let's go with it. But this extra game is to have another home game for 8 more teams, right? And that's why we have it. Just it's another gate.
And maybe that's part of the contract, is a certain amount of dates that they need to have. But I don't think it should be scrapped. I do not think playoffs should be scrapped, but I do think they should be tweaked so that there's flow with it, there's consistency with it, there's an understanding, and that excitement never dies down.
Well, what's interesting is, and we're going to talk about USL Championship here after the break, but they are a single elimination in their playoffs. And this past weekend, we saw top teams go out in the opening rounds. A number 1 seed, Louisville City, who was only lost 1 game all year, lost. Both 2 seeds fell as well. I mean, it's just, so there's an argument to be made that maybe the 3-game series is in for a reason, so that the top seeds don't have that 1 game and crash out.